Welcome back to That Crazy Adventure, a game that I haven't talked about in 5 months. Back 5 months ago, I said that That Crazy Adventure was actually decent, and was one of the first games I was recommended that was actually kinda worth playing. And is it still worth playing 5 months later, despite the fact that nobody is? Well, the Haman bar doesn't charge, dashes don't work, time skips don't work, the new stand doesn't work. All right. They fixed all of those things. That was a launch day issue, and admittedly, there have been a lot of games where updates have come out, they've tested it a bunch, and then when they release the update, a bunch of things break anyway, because that's just Roblox. But the real answer for whether or not That Crazy Adventure is still worth playing is something that I think we need to talk about. The reason I'm talking about it now is, of course, because the Maiden Heaven rework update came out a few days ago. Some people on the team asked me if I wanted to play it again, and I said if I had time I would. I did. Here we are. The thing about TCA is that I feel like it sort of carries on the legacy of classic YBA. And when I initially played it 5 months ago, I couldn't exactly put my finger on why I enjoyed playing that and put time into it, whereas with YBA I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. The reality is, playing TCA, the combat is basically identical to old YBA. Your M1s don't stun people, stands don't have massive infinite combos, and there aren't so many moves that you feel like you need to play Jenga on your keyboard in order to keep track of them all. I mean, most of my criticisms last time were about the game literally not working. And for the most part, nowadays, the game does work. Of course, after they patched all the bugs that came with the Maiden Heaven rework. Bugs, mind you, that were patched within 24 hours rather than 3 months. I can't imagine a game leaving a projectile bugged and not working for 3 months, right, guys? No other game would do that. Definitely not, especially not one that's making 800K a month. Nah. You may have noticed by now, though, that I haven't talked about Maiden Heaven. You haven't seen Maiden Heaven. So if it's about the Maiden Heaven rework, then why am I not talking about it? And that's because I can't get Maiden Heaven. Yeah, so I guess I should have gotten this a long time ago, 5 months ago to be exact, when I was still playing this game, because waiting until now to try to get it, yeah, it's a nightmare. Let's go over it. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. First off, getting Seamoon. Not really that bad. Get Whitesnake, talk to Poochie, kill 36 players, and defeat a raid boss. Oh wait, defeat a raid boss. Well, I got extremely lucky that someone summoned one of these while I was in the game, so I was able to get Seamoon. If not, I wouldn't have even gotten past this step, because we'll be talking about the next step in a second. If we talk to Poochie again, he tells us that we need to get chests, which will then have items, and then we need to get one of those items in order to summon the Poochie raid boss, beat the Poochie raid boss, and then we can get Maiden Heaven. Now here's the problem. The only way to get chests is by getting keys and paying money to this NPC. How do you get keys? Well, they randomly spawn around the map, or you can get them from winning 1v1s. You get 2 of them for winning 1v1s. So I didn't think this was that bad. I jumped into 1v1s and ran into 2 glaring problems. Number 1, nobody's playing this game. So trying to get into 1v1s sucks. I am 100% sure I spent more time waiting for a match than I did actually playing matches, which, as you can probably assume, was not very much fun. Number 2, if somebody leaves the 1v1s match, you get all the rewards except for the keys. What the fuck? So you're telling me if I go in and I butcher this guy so bad that he quits out of the game because he knows he's not gonna win, I don't get fuck all? Oh, that's awesome. How did this get through testing? How, guys? How could you look at this and think it's okay? Did you really not consider that people rage quit when they're losing, which then gives you nothing? Oh my god. Okay, so I did manage to win some 1v1s. I used those keys, I got chests, and to absolutely nobody's surprise, I got 0 raid boss items from like 15 boxes. Yeah, so it's gonna be an RNG disaster, in other words. I didn't get a single raid boss item, Never mind any of the raid boss items that I directly needed. The one specific one. Now, I think the worst part about this is that I actually really like the chest and key idea. Getting random rewards for playing 1v1s, and potentially really good rewards at that, is a phenomenal system. But then you fuck it all up by making it so that the only way, or at least seemingly only way, to get the new stand is to grind 1v1s for hours and hours and hours, which people aren't even playing. That, or wander around the map. How long is this expected to take? I have no fucking clue. Regardless, I don't have Maiden Heaven. I can't get it. I assume that the developers, after seeing this, will make some changes so that way it's more reasonable. But as of right now, people quit 1v1s, you don't get anything. Nobody's playing 1v1s, so you can't get anything. So I guess you're expected to just wander around the main map for hours and hours and hours, and then hope you get lucky with a chest. Now, I just went on that big ol' rant, so at this point you're thinking, this game sucks, let's never play this in our lives, right? Well, no. Yeah, maybe I've just got Stockholm Syndrome or something, but I still think that the game is worth playing. I genuinely do. Especially if you miss old YBA's simplicity and you don't like getting one-shot killed by every stand in the game. This game truly does carry on the legacy of old YBA, and I think that's something that's really special. It's not without its flaws. I think it has a mountain of issues, but the question is, can those mountains of issues get fixed? And can this game truly become the game that surpasses YBA? I don't know if it can surpass it, but I do feel like it can probably match it. TCA's combat is already pretty good, and it's so close to being really good. It reminds me so much of legacy old YBA. You don't need to play Jenga with your keyboard in order to figure out what the hell you're doing. Movesets are simple and straightforward. Combos don't have you stuck there for 80 years taking all of your health. But that being said, there are some minor gripes with it that I think hold it back a little bit. Maybe they're just personal opinion, but I can't say for sure. For one, M1 hitboxes feel sometimes like I'm trying to hit somebody with a little pinprick. With people running away, there's a lot of the time where I'll be trying to hit them with an M1 and it feels like I should be hitting them, but my attack is passing right through. Considering that M1s don't directly lead to stun and hitting moves feels good, not hitting moves feels bad, I think the hitbox leniency for this should be increased a little bit, but again, maybe that's just me. One thing that certainly can't be just me is the fact that there is zero slowdown effect on people who are on lower health. So if you're beating someone in a fight substantially, they can just run away at the same speed as you indefinitely, which is incredibly frustrating sometimes. We don't need anything like old AUT where you slow to a crawl and are basically instantly dead no matter what, but YBA slows you down just enough to the point where you can't endlessly run away once you get into the red. And then the other thing that I noticed that was really weird and probably something that may end up having to rebalance the whole game, who knows, and again, I think it's a personal preference issue, but it's the fact that you have double the health that you have in YBA. I don't know if the people that were writing the combat just arbitrarily picked 400 as a number. I don't know if they wanted to be different, but what I do know is it can make the time to kill in the game take forever. YBA fights took a long time back in the day because you couldn't one combo someone. But that being said, interactions and stuff mattered because if you had 4 or 5 bad ones, you would die. But when you take 4 or 5 bad ones and you double it to 8 or 10 bad ones, yeah, it can take a long time to kill people. I think the overall damage dealt is slightly higher on most stands, as well as the overall damage reduction most people have being slightly lower, but it doesn't take away from the fact that 400 health feels like overkill and sometimes makes people feel like bullet sponges where you'll hit them 80 times and they don't die. Again, maybe it's just me, I can't say for sure. But I bring up all these gripes for 2 reasons. Number 1, I feel like this game legitimately has potential. I've said that before, and I'm saying it again. Just looking at the evolution of the game from 5 months ago to now is kind of incredible. The animations are way better, the effects are way better, but despite all those things, they haven't compromised the feeling of the game. They haven't done what YBA did. update the effects, but butcher the combat. So that's number one. But number two was that I was reached out to by someone on the development team asking if I wanted to be a tester for this game. And I don't know what to tell them. I told them to give me some time, and I haven't said anything about it since then. Frankly, I've been burned before. I'm jaded to the whole testing thing. I'm jaded on the whole effectively working for someone for free aspect. But should those things compromise my ability to help a game that actually has potential maybe get there? I don't know. So that's where I turn to you guys. This game clearly has its problems. And I made a video that got over 100,000 views 5 months ago telling people that the game was good but had problems. And despite that, still, basically nobody's playing this. So I have two questions for you. Number one, what's stopping you from playing this game? Because I'm genuinely curious. Is it just because YBA's better? Because nowadays I don't even know if I'd agree with you on that one. But is that what it is? I have no idea. And number two, what should I tell these people? Is it worth my time? Do you think this game is worth my time? I leave it in your hands. I almost think that I should have an ultimatum of maybe if the game gets to a certain amount of players after I post this. But regardless, it's in your guys' hands now. I'm done here. Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful day night wherever you are. I'll see you next time.